Hi, I'm Joe Kowick, former PGA golf instructor, and I'd like to show you a golf invention I've developed. Over 25,000 golf lessons led up to this great invention. I have it on a little toy that shows you the concept that wherever the club face would go, the aid would go. All you have to do is keep the aid on your left forearm throughout the entire golf swing, and you'll know where the shaft points, where the face points. Let me take you through the swing. At address, it can start away from your forearm or on your forearm. But by the time the club gets about here, it's going to be touching. Then you just keep it touching until you hit the stops. These are called stops because it stops you from moving the club any further. A lot of people make mistakes coming down, but all you have to do is keep on the stops until you get the release. After you hit the ball, it'll still be on your forearm. Even when you finish, it'll still be on your forearm when you spin around. So all you have to do is keep the left forearm touching this, what we call the playing bar or guide, and just make sure you don't lead with your right arm, that you're going to kind of trap it and keep it in this stop. And it's going to stay there as you come down, as you release. It'll leave you momentarily, but it'll always be on your left. You'll feel it the entire swing. Now I'd like to show you also how to practice with it. That's how it works. Here's how to practice with it. And I'm going to put it on a real golf club. But first I want to show you how to practice at home. To do this correctly, you don't want to start out hitting golf balls. What you want to do is learn how to use it properly with your wrists. It helps to have a proper in-plane wrist cock, a functional grip, which means if you start with the shaft in your arm at a right angle and grip it, you'll be able to recreate that angle up here. And to get your right arm properly, you could put the club here and just put your right arm in the right spot. Or you could open your hips, lower your shoulder, get your arm bent and folded. And this is an exaggerated position that pros try to get in at about this point, and we'll release it real quick right there. That's a great feeling if you can experience that. So you want to practice in your TV chair with this functional grip. Have it right in front of you. You can also practice the arm swing, being careful not to hit animals, people, furniture, so forth. This is how you learn to practice with it. This is the proper progression. All right, the next progression is to do what I call a isolation. In other words, you isolate on one motion over and over. This is the takeaway. When you think you got that motion down, you progress to the next motion, which is to set this angle. Then you blend those two motions. Then you go to a third motion, which is maybe ready. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing in the downswing. We're going to isolate on the change of direction, which is square the hips and drop the arms. You notice your wrist is still set. All right. Isolating that motion and then progress to the release. A little more rotation through it with the hips. Then cock the wrists. Then you blend those two motions. Now we're ready for the next motion. You can see it better this way. Still in the forearm. And you finish. Isolate on the finish. Blend those two motions together. And we've got the whole swing. Now the next progression is to do that in slow motion. You use your eyes. You look directly at the aid. See how the aid interacts with your forearms. How not to use it. If your form does not conform to the swing guide, it's going to be very awkward. In other words, if you start off by rolling the club, it'll hit the wrong forearm. It's got to stay on the left. A lot of people take the club over here and lift it, then you're not going to be touching the guide like you should. A lot of people lead with their elbow and are going to miss the right stop rather than Just letting it fold in soft. A lot of people uncock the wrist too soon. That would make the stops leave your forearms. You've got to keep the stops on your forearms until you get a good late release. And a lot of people get what we call a chicken wing at the bottom. If you chicken wing it, you won't be touching the stop. A lot of people use their hands too much, try to help the ball up. If you do that, the guide will back up and hit your right forearm. A lot of people will chicken wing it all the way. You can get by with it here, but it's good practice. Keep it on your left forearm all the way, even if you make a helicopter finish. Now I've got this swing guide on a golf club, and we just got through doing the progressions. We're up to gradually speeding up. The progression should be about twice as fast coming down as going back. In other words, if I take 8 seconds going back, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, to about 2 to 1 ratio. Then you get up to 6, 3, then you get up to maybe 4, 2, then about 2, 1. We're up to full speed. Now I want to add the ball. When we add the ball, we start with chip shots. You don't add the ball with full swings. You start with chip shots, little pitches. Then you just keep working your way back to a little longer swing, adding 10 yards. You want to master those shots 10 yards at a time, master them to your standards until you get up to a full, say a full wedge shot, and then you'd go from club to club, adding 10 yards with 12 yards with every club, depending upon how far you hit it. And then when you're up to full speed, hitting the ball with a wedge, then you go into your longer clubs. Here's how to attach the swing guide. You take the nut and bolt out, spread this out. This is called the clamp. You have to. Make sure you put the bare rod in first. If it doesn't go in easily, you could stick a golf tee in and kind of hit it with a hammer or push it in. A few of them you might even have to borrow your neighbor's drill if you don't have one, and have somebody drill that out for you. So here it is. Now there's a square hole. Make sure you put your bowl in the square hole first. That makes it easy to tighten the wing nut. Don't tighten it all the way. You should put the clamp on top. That is the large bar and the clamp. Now don't pull this. It's real loose now, I could, but when it gets tighter, rather than pulling on the guide, we tighten it up a little more. When you need to adjust this, pull the clamp rather than pulling your aid. Gotta go tighter yet. Now, the more I move this clockwise, from my point of view, the more to the left I can hit the ball. If you move the aid this way, it's anti-slice. This way is anti-hook. Depending upon how you can use the loft, you can angle the shaft and have it a little bit off center as well. For the driver, probably want to have it right on top. You may have to adjust this toward the head or toward the end of the club. Just loosen this wing nut here and slide this towards you for less wrist cock, slide it away for more. You go towards it, you can't cock it as much. The farther you get away, the more it can move. Well, that's it for today, and good luck with your golf training aid. This is Joe the Pro signing out.